All right, I am standing in front of the Wellcraft project boat, and I am finally selling it today, or at least we're parting it out. And obviously not selling it in the fashion that we expected to sell it. Of course, 2 years ago when I purchased this boat, the idea was to completely redo it or build it from scratch. And of course, I'd love to show y'all a video of me cranking a key and cruising it down the river, but that just ain't what happened. In fact, a lot of life happened, so I've got some explaining to do, I suppose. So back 2.5 years ago when I was flipping boats, I was really into it, and that year I flipped 9 boats. However, this boat I never really got around to because I actually owned a business, and I actually closed that business and started a completely different business. And as any business owner knows, it takes a lot of work, even on the weekends. Also, I have half custody of my son, so I end up spending a lot of time with him, and I'm usually playing or fishing or doing something fun with him. I'm not just trying to give him to a babysitter and then go work on boats for hours on end. So what happened with this boat in the past 2 years is, unfortunately, termites got this boat. So termites got into the transom, and it's going to start to rot this transom out, and termites got into the floor, so the floor started to get soft. So originally this boat was a really good find. I got it for $500 for the boat and trailer, and the trailer had a title. However, after it's got termites, it's basically worthless, and the trailer's worth something, but that's it. You know, somebody's got to pay to dispose of the boat. All right, so that brings us to the motor, and the motor today I'm going to sell for $500, and a guy's about to show up to purchase that. If you remember, a long time ago, I bought that motor originally with a boat and trailer, sold the boat and trailer for $350, and then ended up basically only paying $200 for this motor. Now, since then, I've put about $100 into it. All right, so if y'all remember this old 140 Evinrude, this is what it looks like. So after I purchased it, the parts that I changed out with this fuel solenoid here, the 4 coils, 4 spark plugs, and I put some new hoses on here. With that, I probably put about 4 or 5 hours tinkering on this thing and $100 in parts. So basically I'm into it for about $300 and plan to make $200 profit on this. Obviously it's not the ideal situation. I wanted this thing on that boat right there. So far I've sold the top for the boat for $250, and I plan to sell the console for another $250, hopefully sell that seat for $250, and then I can sell this trailer / boat for about another $500 to about $900, depending on if somebody's really interested in trying to actually fix the boat. Hey bud, you found a bait in the yard. How about that? We always got some baits in the yard, huh? So I think one of the main questions I had when I was trying to actually fix this motor is that did I get it completely running? And no, I didn't. I got it to run for about 20 seconds or so. So the buyer knows that I haven't run this engine in over a year, and that it's going to take some tinkering to get it going again. However, I do know it doesn't have any, like, I don't know, blown head gaskets. It doesn't have any bad cylinders or, you know, busted rods or anything crazy that he's going to need to completely rebuild stuff. So when I did talk to a mechanic about why this thing wouldn't run for about only 20 seconds, I thought it was something to do with the timing. And the mechanic informed me that this motor in particular cannot go out of timing, that it had to be the carburetor. So I said, well, I just cleaned the carburetor. And he was like, well, you must have missed some, you know, some jets or something like that. And I was like, all right, well, how much will it be to, you know, for you to go ahead and fix the right jets the way they're supposed to be, you know? He says $375. So needless to say, I never did pay him to do that. So if that's the case, this guy may have to end up getting a rebuilt carb. But one way or another, it's going to work. It's just not, you know, it's not ideal, I guess. But for $500, what can you expect, you know? It's as advertised, basically, that it can and will work. But like I said, it just needs some tinkering, I think, a little bit more. So obviously this is not the ideal situation. Like I said, I wanted to completely flip the entire boat and really show y'all, you know, the ins and outs of how I did this and how much it cost me and stuff. And I would say that starting from scratch, even if you get a free boat, I would not recommend it, because things like the seat is going to cost you $300. The console is going to cost you $300. Everything's going to add up so much that by the time you get even a free boat and put all the parts and pieces that you need for a good running boat, like it's going to be over $2,000. But as you can see, the trailer is still in good condition, so I do plan to sell that and make a few dollars on it. So it's not a total loss. And as you can see, I've got my son over here who's always playing, and he's my #1 priority. So boat flipping is not my #1 priority. You know, having a good time with my son and making sure that, you know, he's got a dad that's around and not, you know, in the backyard always flipping boats and working on boats. In the future, will I still do boat projects? Yes, I still have the Aquasport. It's still in better condition than this one, and the motor is worth about $2,000 in comparison to this $500 motor. So I do still plan to make a good flip on that one. However, it's probably going to end up being with my nephews this summer. What's up, dude? So over that 2 years of boat flipping, I had to reprioritize basically, and flipping boats became very low on the, you know, priority list, and keeping money coming in the door, making sure I could pay the bills, starting a new business, that was at the very top of the priority list. And then of course taking care of my son. So during that 1 year, 1.5 years where I was actually flipping boats actively, I learned a lot of things, and it was a great experience to do. So I don't want to flip boats for the rest of my life. I was always covered in either sawdust or fiberglass dust, wearing a respirator. It was either raining or it was during the summer months and it was so hot. Just a lot of things basically to complain about, always being itchy, having that stuff in your clothes. My hands were always gross because I was always using epoxy resin or fiberglass resin. I was always using fillers and stuff like that. And then it's hard to always keep gloves on and that sort of thing. It was a lot of headache basically. And if I'm breathing in paint fumes and fiberglass fumes, it's not good for my health. So although I was profitable and made a little bit of money flipping boats that year, it just wasn't worth the headache. It wasn't worth the hassle. And if it's really something that you enjoy and maybe you're equipped, like you have a full shop and you don't have to deal with the weather messing up your projects and stuff, I would say, you know, keep going with it. If you've already got all the tools, you know, I would encourage you to keep doing it. But for me, it never added up to, you know, happiness, I suppose, right? And I'd much rather do other things with my time. I have a lot of other talents. And so basically, if you see this channel transforming a little bit into some adventure content and stuff like that, don't be surprised, because that's what we really love to do. And we hope that you continue to watch our channel. And this summer, like I said, I will try and be doing that Aquasport boat with the nephews. But other than that, I think you're going to see a lot more adventure stuff coming from this channel, and maybe a lot more, maybe flipping small stuff, but not necessarily huge boat projects. So this is probably kind of an awkward shot, but I've just trying to rest my leg. I ended up breaking my leg recently. It's not related to this video whatsoever. I was just trying to explain why I'm laying on the couch awkwardly. But thank y'all for watching, and as always, y'all stay safe out there so you can return home still alive.